Hello everybody and welcome back to another short segment from IG Apps, where today I'll be covering how to make delays in your Android app. This is a very useful thing to know if you want a certain action to happen after a certain amount of time. An example of this would be if you were to create an app where you showed users a picture for 5 seconds and then ask them some questions about it later. You could use the Runnable and Handler classes in Java to make the questions appear after 5 seconds. So let's get started. So I have a basic app open over here displaying an image, and now what we're going to do 5 seconds after it launches, we're going to make a button appear right underneath the image saying next page. So this is what the code looks like so far for the image. You can go ahead and pause the video and copy it. But now I'm going to write the code for the button. So I'm just going to say button, and I'm going to say wrap content for the width and height. I'm going to position it in the center horizontally, so layout center horizontal. I'm going to set that equal to true. I also want it to be below the image view, so I'm going to say below image img, which is my image ID. Now we'll set the text to Android text equals next page. The button really isn't going to do anything. We just want to show that it appears when we use the Handler and Runnable. And now I'm going to give the button some margin to the top. If you don't understand margin and padding, I'd recommend that you check out my short bit called Padding and Margin in XML Explained, because that explains it in detail. And now the last thing that I'm going to do is set the visibility of the button to invisible initially. That way in Java, after a delay, we can set it to visible. So I'm going to say Android visibility invisible. And if you don't know what visible, invisible, and gone mean, I recommend that you check out my video on setting views visibility in Java and XML, and that's another short bits video that I have. But now I'm going to head on over to mainactivity.java. I'm going to start over here in my onCreate method. So when the app is launched, what I'm going to do is I'm going to display the button after 5 seconds. So first, in order to do that, actually, I forgot. I need to give the button an ID. So I'm going to say Android ID equals app plus ID and then btn. And then I'm going to head back over to mainactivity.java. And I'm going to create a button object, btn. And then I'm going to say btn equals find view by ID r.id dot btn. And now I'm going to create my handler. So I'm going to say handler h equals new handler. You can see that I have to import it first. I'm going to import it. So I'm going to say new handler. Okay. Now I'm going to create a runnable, and that's the code that's going to execute when I specify the runnable in my handler method. So there's a method that the handler has called h.postDelayed, and you provide it a runnable as well as a delay in milliseconds. So I'm just going to have that there, and it's going to give us an error right now, but I still have to create my runnable. So I'm going to say runnable r equals new runnable, and then you can hit enter and auto completes it for you, but it forgets a semicolon, so I'm just going to add that there. And now in my run method, what I'm going to say is btn.set visibility, and I'm going to say view.visible. Okay, and there you have it. Now all I have to do is in my h.postDelayed method provide the runnable, so r, and then the number of seconds. So I'm going to say you can do 5 if you want, 5,000 milliseconds. I'm just going to do 1,000. That way it's quicker. And now I'm going to run this to show you that it works. So the app just relaunched, and you can see here that the button appeared. You may not be able to see it over the watermark, but it appeared after 1 second. And the button's small, but you can make it larger over here. And go ahead and play around with the handler, because it's pretty useful, and I've used it in multiple of my apps. But that's about it for this short bit segment. Don't forget to share the channel with friends, and subscribe to the IJ Apps channel. In the future short bits, I'll cover how to use the edit text in Android Studio. Until then, happy developing from IJ Apps.